For this section, we're going to be talking about how to do algebra with vectors. Now, as algebra is based off of mathematical operations, the very first thing we're going to talk about is adding vectors together. Subtracting vectors is going to be pretty much the same thing. Now, the idea is, let's say you have two vectors here, a and b, and you want to add them together. What you're actually doing with them is you're lining them up tip to tail. So here we have a and b. When we line them up tip to tail, that is equivalent to adding them. And this might give us vector c. Right? If vector c is the resultant of the addition, it's simply a straight line from where you started to where you ended up. So mathematically speaking here, what we could say is if this blue one here is vector c, whoops, that's not the right letter, vector c, what we could say here is c is equal to a plus b. This statement holds true with addition as it would for pretty much anything else. What you'll notice here, though, is if A is 1 unit of length and B is, say, 2 units of length, C will not necessarily be 3 units of length. The directions are going to directly affect the addition that you're dealing with. Now, with that being said, we can talk a little bit about subtraction. Addition and subtraction are actually the same mathematical operation. So if we take a look at, say, B, let's do my best to recreate this. I'm surprised that worked out that well. That's pretty close. Anyhow, so if we have vector b here, there's an interesting thing about subtraction. You can treat subtraction with negative integers. So basically, if you were to take a look at this, if we go in the opposite direction of b, this is a vector which we could call negative b. So if my goal was to do, for example, vector a minus vector b, I could instead do this by taking vector a. So let's grab vector a here. Get rid of this blue tail. Could take vector a here. And if I line this up from tip to tail, I can take vector a plus minus vector b is equal to a new vector c. So for this bottom case here, this is the same as me doing c is equal to a plus minus b or a minus b. Right? So basically, when you're dealing with vectors, addition and subtraction are the same thing if you take into account that negative vectors are possible. And all a negative vector is you're taking the original vector and flipping it around 180 degrees.